Comics Weekly Wrap-Up, where I share with you the comics and slash trades that I've read for the week. I have this print that I've had for like years, and I would love to get a frame and hang this on the wall behind me, but sadly I don't have any money to buy a suitable frame for it because it's kind of big and I'd have to have it matted and everything, but I wanted to show you guys that before we get started. Okay, so anyways, the first book I read this week was Thor, the Goddess of Thunder. This is something that when they first mentioned this, when this first debuted, I really wanted to read this because, let's face it, it's another radical change with the Marvel Universe, with a traditional character. And this takes place right after the events of the original Sin, which was their summer, I don't know if it was 2014. Yeah, it was a 2014 event. And it just didn't turn out to be that great of a story. So, I'm really curious as to what Nick Fury had whispered in Thor's ear, because that's a recurring thing that they keep mentioning in this book. There's the back of that, anyways. Well, of course, as you know, like, when Nick Fury whispered in Thor's ear, he, like, dropped the hammer and he could no longer pick it up. And now makes sense in the Time Runs Out story why Thor was so different looking, why he had an axe and why he has a metal arm and all that. So now that makes sense. Well, anyways, I'm not going to reveal too much about this book because the whole book is shrouded in mystery. They're kind of doing the same thing that they did when they debuted the Red Hulk. They want you to try to figure out who is this new Thor. And it's kind of misleading at times. They kind of lead you on one path and then they reveal later that it's not who you thought it was. So in the end, it's still kind of like, you really have no clue who Thor is. But she's got to be somebody who can survive being on the moon's surface and, you know, can breathe in outer space, because she's not a normal human, obviously, if she can pick up the hammer on the moon. So, yeah, I thought this was, it was entertaining. The good start of this was an average book because it starts out, you know, battling frost giants under the water, which I thought was kind of lame. But the end reveal was like the best part of this. And these are the back covers, which these are beautiful, some of these back covers. So yeah, I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think that I will check out further books for this, just because I want to know who Thor is that bad. Like, I thought that part was really cool. Okay, up next we have Avengers Time Runs Out Part 3. This cover is just excellent. This is one of the best covers I've seen so far for this series. And I have to say that for this storyline, being broken down into small parts kind of sucked. But, like I said, you have this cover. So, I mean, this one was slightly better than the other 2 previous volumes. But it just wasn't enough to make it a 4-star book. So, I mean, it still has a few, like, you know, meh moments. But it was much better because the action seems to be picked up a little bit faster. It seems to be going in a direction that now I can kind of be like, okay, I kind of know what's going on. And it really does look like it's leading towards the Secret Wars, although at a very slow pace. They really milked this storyline for all they could get, I guess. So I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. After that, I read Omega Flight, Alpha to Omega. And this takes place during the Civil War storyline. So, of course, it has a couple of United States heroes who kind of are cooperating with the Canadian government to, you know, help them deal with the American citizens who are fleeing because of the Registration Act, and they're now in Canada. Most of them are just like villains, like criminals. And the U.S. agent, and Beta Ray Bill, and Arachne, I think her name is, and they got some guy who's American too, but I don't really know who he is, in the Guardian suit, and he's supposedly somebody who had killed some Alpha Flight members. It was just an okay storyline. I think this one was really more... It was just all like... It was kind of silly because it was about chasing the Wrecking Crew and dealing with the Great Beasts who were like an Alpha Flight villain, I guess. So it was really just okay. I wasn't too impressed with it. I also rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. After that, I picked up Cyclops Starstruck, and this Cyclops from the all-new X-Men, it's not the older Cyclops, it's the teen Cyclops, and he got a chance to travel on outer space with his father, Corsair. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see, you know, they're doing a road trip, per se, in outer space, and he's kind of showing him how to be a space pirate. So it's kind of, you know, it was okay. I also rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I think I really hoped it would have been better, but, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. Not sure that I would want to continue reading this, because it was just okay. After that, I picked up Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Avengers. And there's the back of that one. This one features Iron Man for some reason. And this one was really... It seems to be getting kind of tiresome. You know, they do something, they get arrested, and then they do something more, and then there's like filler fluff with featuring team members in the back of it. So I really wasn't impressed with this. I only rated this one 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I just really thought this was okay. It wasn't that great. Up next we have Nailbiter Volume 2. This is Bloody Hands. It's been like at least a month or two since I've read the first volume of this. And I really thought the first volume was really, really good. I either rated it 4 or 5 stars, if I remember correctly. Well, this is the only other graphic novel or trade of this series. I think it's still an ongoing series, so they have not made any newer books. But of course, it's still continuing on with the serial killers and the mystery of why do certain people born in Buckaroo, Oregon, why do they become serial killers? And there's still like some creepy people. This one has Brian Michael Bendis in it as a cameo, which I thought was really strange. But yeah, he's in it. And this one was just okay. I think that the first one was really, really great because it had like scenes that made it seem like a horror movie, whereas this is just kind of, it seems like it's played out, and it wasn't as entertaining as the first volume. So I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. It was just okay. While I still enjoy the series, and I probably will continue on with it, I just really didn't think this one was that great. It's still kind of weird and creepy, and yes, it is an Image comic, and it is rated M for mature, so this is not suitable for kids. Like most of the comics and trades, graphic novels I share on my channel, they're not suitable for kids, so it's pretty much safe to, if I show you something, assume it's not for children unless I say, hey, anybody can read this. Up next we have the Amalgam Age of Comics, and these are the Marvel side to those books. There's the back cover. For some reason, this library chose to like hardbind this book. But this was the last book in this series that I really wanted to read. And I was kind of disappointed because I couldn't buy it because these books are kind of rare for some reason. Like, there just aren't many copies of them available. And there was a seller on Amazon, and they wanted like a ridiculous amount of money for this book. They wanted like $80 or $90 for it, and I was like, yeah, forget that. I think I'll, just go without reading it. Well, I was browsing at my local library, and I happened to see this on the shelf, and I was like, oh, nice. And I almost thought, well, maybe it's not the same book. Maybe it's just like something I've already read. Because sometimes it's hard when you're out in public browsing, and it's hard to remember what books you've already read. But I thought, if you have not read the Amalgams before, what they are is they are a period of time. There were a couple of months where DC and Marvel got together and they mismatched their characters. Like, we have Speed Demon here. He's like the Ghost Rider mixed with the Flash. And Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., stuff like that. Spider-Boy is like Superboy mixed with Spider-Man. And the Doom Patrol mixed with the X-Force. So it's kind of like really interesting. Some of the stories were kind of lame in this one, so I only rated it 3 out of 5 stars. But for those who like alternate storylines and alternate versions of things, this is a pretty cool thing. Okay, and the last book for my weekly wrap-up is She-Hulk, Law and Disorder, Volume 1. This was illustrated by the guy who did an X Factor book. I don't remember how long of a run it had, but the faces really don't look like real people. They kind of have that fugly look to them. But the covers are beautiful, absolutely beautiful covers. They're done like in watercolor, it looks like. But this story was just okay. I mean, if you're into the Law and Order TV show, you might like this because it does have like a lot of law type stuff, and there's some action adventure, but not a lot. It's mostly just lawyer type stuff, and yeah, so I just thought this was just okay, and I only rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't know what to expect because I'd never read She-Hulk before, so I really wasn't sure what I was getting when I checked this one out. So that is my last book for the week. Questions, comments down below as always. If there's any of these books you've already read or you plan on reading any of them, let me know that too down below. And thanks for watching, guys.